Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Friday, the show where we dive into the stories and experiences from people from all walks of life. Today, we have Trenton Tebow with us, a comedian who performed at Kill Tony and a host at the Artist Spotlight at the Kung Fu Saloon. We're going to talk all about his journey in comedy, the ups and downs of stand-up, and, of course, hear his jokes along the way. Trenton, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, how you doing?
Man, I'm just rolling. Got a little bit of time to kill, but I'm just ready to rock and roll, get this sucker going.
No, I appreciate you being on the show. Now, for the listeners who may not be familiar with your line of work yet, could you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do and why you do it?
Yeah, man. I randomly walked into an open mic back. Man, it's been 3 years ago now, and saw some people that I knew were doing it, and they invited me to get up there, and I did well. I'd always been a fan of comedy. I had some jokes written, and I had no intention of doing it, but I did it, and I did well. And then, man, the first 3 months I was on this sold out show, and man, it was just a high I couldn't ever relate to again. So I just stuck to doing it. At that moment was when I was like, man, I might be able to do something in this. So
No,
yeah,
everyone has a story. I mean, what made you pick up the mic and tell your jokes?
like I said, just some people that I knew were there, and they were doing it, and honestly, man, they weren't that good because I mean it was all I wasn't good the first time, of course, but I did well for being a first timer. So I was like, man, I guess I'll give it a shot. I make my friends laugh, so I go and try that out.
Yeah, who inspired you the most in comedy?
Man, honestly, I gotta say, probably Pandora Raw Comedy Radio. I used to listen to that all the time. There'd just be tons of different artists on there, tons of different comics on there. Uh, the one that I really just relate to the most was this guy named Jackie the Joke Man Martling. He was on with Howard Stern all the time, and I would go around telling his jokes and all that, and they were funny, get a laugh out of people. And then after that, I just started kind of writing my own, and then finally I actually got into stand-ups. Now I write all the time.
Yeah, what was the hardest part about starting in comedy?
The hardest part is learning how to perform. Honestly, that's the hardest part about starting, is because I've always been a pretty decent writer. I've been good at that. It was learning how to get up there and actually do it was the hard part. And then also, that's the hardest part, starting, knowing where to start. And then once you get into it, the hardest part for me is marketing myself and then networking and all that, because I don't want to ask anybody for anything. So, but it's just part of the business having to do it. So I'm having to learn how to do that and learning how to deal with the digital age of, social networking and all that.
No, comedy does look like fun.
Oh, it's a ton of, dude, comedy's fine. Hanging out with comedians afterwards, that's the best part.
I
And
bet you it's getting started, it was really tough, though.
man, it's really not as hard as what you would think. It's just show up. Comedy is just a game of survival. If you just keep going, you're gonna get better at it, and you're gonna meet people that'll give you opportunities. And if you just stick to it, it's just like anything else with practice. I mean, some people just naturally have it, and then other people don't, and then other people, they learn how to do it.
It's almost like building a solid foundation to go off of, with stacking those small wins on top of each other.
Exactly. It's not a linear path. Everyone's different in how it goes and all that. It's everyone has a different process and everything, and no one's wrong about it. Just how you do it yourself.
Yeah, what's a joke you told in your early days that totally bombed?
Oh man, a joke that bombed. Man, Joke that bombed. Here, I'll give you one that didn't bomb, but it's still one of the first ones I. Here we go. So I hate. Oh man, what is his name now? I can't think of his name now. Oh, who sings "Uptown Funk You Up"? Uptown Funk.
Is it Mac Miller? No, it's
No.
Mac. It's
True.
it's.
Oh man.
I can think of the
Anyway, here.
lyrics.
How about this? How about this? I'll tell you the first joke I wrote when I was like 12 years old.
Okay.
Um, man, I've been living with this girl for about 6 months. Um, don't tell her. Me and her have a love-hate relationship. I love her. She hates the raccoons in her attic. So that's 12-year-old me.
My dad told me a joke, and he told me he goes, "What do you call a cow with no legs?"
Ground
The
beef.
ground beef. I was like, "Wow, Dad, that's really original there."
Yeah, no, this is dude. It's a weird game because like you can think you come up with something very good, and then you get up there and you try it out and it completely bombs, and you have no idea why. You're like, man, this is so funny to me, but it's not.
Yeah. Plus, you got to feel out the crowd, and maybe the crowd's not there, or they're not even focused on you, or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's 90% of stand up. That's most. That's a problem with most people's perception of it. Is like an owner of somewhere will treat a stand up like they're a musician, and they're like, yeah, we can just plug them in right there. But it's a completely different game because you can listen to music while you eat and not pay attention and enjoy it, while stand up is a thing of engagement of where like if these people are out here, doing whatever, not paying attention to you, and they're gonna be like, man, this guy sucks, and no one's laughing. Whenever comedy is built to be in a basement with dim lights and it's supposed to be dirty and everyone's supposed to be all packed in there just super tight like sardines so all the laughter can bounce off each other.
That's good insight right there. Now, what was it like performing on Kill Tony?
Dude, so the bucket pool before me wasn't there. So I hit that curtain and I said hi to Kim Patterson for a second because I'd already known him a little bit. And man, as soon as I hit that curtain, I had 30 seconds. They're like, all right, go out there. And the material was fine. Like, I honestly planned on doing a little different material, but as soon as I hit there, I just went to autopilot and I just did the jokes that I had right there. And I was confident in the material. I wasn't worried about that. It was the interview afterwards whenever I just started tense up. You can kind of see me as I do my set. Once I finally break and get that first laugh, you can see kind of relief go over me. But it was the interview because I'm a fairly boring person. I say it's the interview that gets to me.
Yeah, that show is legendary, and you are hilarious on stage.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, the funny part that no one saw was I was going back and forth with Sam Talent, and the whole right side of my face started tremoring, and I'm so glad they didn't see that because about 3 months before that, I got hit by a semi. So there for several months, I just have random face tremors and stuff like that. From a traumatic brain injury, it was it was quite a time.
I'm sure you can take away something from that, make some jokes, right?
Oh yeah, the my attorney doesn't want me talking about that whole thing on stage until the whole lawsuit settled up with the semi truck and all that.
Now,
But
did you learn anything from being on Kill Tony?
man, I learned I need to prepare a little bit better for an interview portion. That's why. And honestly, it taught me to trim some fat on one joke, which for some reason I was married to that joke at the time. Like it was real special to me. Because I'd just gone through a breakup and I wrote this about that. So I guess it taught me not to be married to any material as well.
I was gonna say, do a lot of comedians get married to material?
Dude, it's a problem. Whenever I used to write a new at least 5 minutes of material every single week and go perform it. And so, I mean, 12 weeks, you have new hour of material. Now, is it all going to be good? No. You might keep 30% of that. But, man, whenever I see people day in, day out, go up and do the exact same material they've been doing for 2 years, it makes me want to put a gun in my mouth. It's awful.
Now, how do you handle like hecklers in the crowd?
Man, I just go off what they give me, honestly. Like, it wasn't that long ago. I made this 53-year-old stripper cry. Shit. I didn't like anything about it. And mind you, this is at the club. We weren't at like a Panera Bread, and I wouldn't like just started roasting or anything like that. I was in an appropriate environment to go in, and I just kind of went off on her, just picking apart everything about her. And then she was up there crying to the door guy and all that. And then she came back down to the bar and she walked up to me and she said, "I'm going to put a hex on you." All right. And she said, "When you have children, they're all going to be born without penises." Cool. I'm going to have daughters. That's cool. And she said, "Unless they're girls, then they will have penises." And all I could think was, man, that's awfully progressive of you, hoping I have transgender children. That'd be cool.
Yeah, not every audience is friendly.
No, if you're around stand up, you're going to see crazy people. I can name at least 4 people that I've been around that every time I'm nice to them because I'm afraid that they might bring a gun sometime or something like that. There's a lot of mentally unwell people in this.
Now, what's the best reaction you ever gotten from a joke?
Man, honestly, just applause breaks. Applause breaks are really cool. Like that.
They're funny. You're really funny. A lot of your jokes are really funny.
I appreciate that. Yeah, applause breaks are really really cool. And then doing a black room. Black rooms are the black audiences. When you do like a full black room, they're very honest, very honest. If you're not funny, they're not going to give it to you. But once you get them rolling, they're the most fun people.
Yeah, some laughs actually hit harder than others. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially me just being a hick boy from a small town. I'm exactly what they think white people are. So it's a lot of fun to go up there and just play that role.
Now, can you tell us, for the listeners, one of your favorite jokes?
Oh man, put me on the spot a little bit here, dude. It makes it not as funny, man. Here, this is one that all my friends took this joke from me, and anytime someone asks them, if they say, "Oh, you're a comic," tell me a joke. And so, man, you know how long it must have taken the Egyptians to build the pyramid when they had to walk everywhere like this?
How long?
A fucking long time, I'm guessing, dude. Yeah, dude, that's one of those stupid ones that you throw that in there and somewhere when you're talking about something very serious and you do that. They if you're doing well, it just bumps you up even higher because they're not expecting something so goofy.
Now, how do you come up with new jokes?
Man, it's on the spot. I'll be pondering a topic for a while and I'll just randomly think of something, or it'll just randomly come to me. It's a lot of times I'll just be sitting around just thinking about a particular topic, or I'll be thinking about an old joke that maybe I used to do, maybe I still do, and I'm just thinking of more things to do with it.
Do you test
I'm
out your
not.
jokes on like some friends or family first?
Oh yeah, yeah. My coworkers hate me. That's all I do. That's all I do is if I come up with something, I will harass them until I figure it out.
Do you have a joke that you wrote that surprised you by like how well it worked?
That Egyptian joke for some reason, dude. And yeah, it's. I tell you, comedy is not built for like sitting here like this. So the joke sucks right now, but when you get in a club, dude, it's a lot of fun. And I told that I was in a car in Dallas with two of my closest friends that are also comics, and we're we're driving down the street, and for some reason I just did that, and it was the hardest I've ever seen either of them laugh. So I was like, man, I got to go try this, and I go and I do the next night I do a show in in Arlington, and I don't do the joke. Then I go to Fort Worth and I go get on stage, and I'm getting on stage. It's maybe midnight, and it's there's maybe 16 people in the room, so I'm getting up there with no expectations, and I go and I do a little bit of material, and it's going well, and I hit him with that joke, and it was the loudest I think you could possibly get 16 people with how stupid that joke is. And then there's some girl was in the bathroom during it, and she walks back out, and I can just imagine how it must have felt for her whenever she hears these people erupting in laughter. And then immediately after, I go into talking about textured ceilings and textured walls. I mean, absolutely stupid. I had no expectations of that either. It bombed, but she must have. Y'all are laughing at this guy right now.
Yeah, sometimes the best ones come out when out of nowhere.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense sometimes. That's why it's important to actually just try out. Like, even if you're like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I mean, try it.
Now, how do you know when a joke is ready for stage?
You don't. You just. I mean, you you get it ready the best you can. So a lot of times I'll just go up there with just ideas of like, I know, I know, I want to talk about this subject. I've got an idea of how I want it to go. I haven't mapped it out already, but just get up there and kind of forge and fire. You'll figure your way out, or you won't. And it's like you'll take in what you said and what worked and use it and write more on it, or you might end up you'll just scrap it.
Now, what's the topic you love making jokes about?
Man, I joke about a lot. Me personally, my humor is very dark, and it's gotten worse the more I've gotten to stand up. Is I just think worse and worse things are funny, and I like to turn those things funny, but it's not. It doesn't make you super marketable. So I try to stick towards maybe something a little more palatable. Like, I mean, I don't do drugs, but I'll talk about drug use and stuff like that, and like something that's like like it's sort of mainstream. I put my own spin on it, something that no one's gonna get offended to it. I tell some stuff that can be taken offensive and all that, and it has been before, but it's just trying to make myself more marketable.
Now, how did you become the host of the Artist Spotlight at Kung Fu Saloon?
I have no earthly idea, honestly. I uh I went they I went to one because an artist on there that I really liked was on there, and I guess I posted something on my Instagram story about it, and I got a message a little bit later, and it's like, hey man, you want to come be a panelist on here? Sure. And I hopped on there, and then me and the original host, we hit it off really well, and we had what I did with all the artists coming on was I just went on there and did a bunch of research on them, kind of, Nardwar, kind of did that style thing. I just found little details about them. They're like, how do you know this? And I did that, and everyone liked it and all. So I just became a constant co-host for it. And sadly, our producer of the show, he ended up taking a new job. So I don't know if we're still going to be doing it anymore, but we might have something in the works coming up.
Now, what do you love most about hosting?
Man, I love meeting new people, new artists, all that. It's because we've had people on that 3 weeks later they blow up. They're getting like one guy. He went from being, like maybe had a couple thousand followers on something. Then a few weeks after doing our show, man, he posted this TikTok video. It's got 18 million views, and he's blowing up. He's traveling, doing Nashville all the time, and we've had bigger name artists on, but it's just so cool to see these guys before they make it.
Yeah, it's all about the journey, not the destination, but the personal development throughout the journey for these people.
Yeah, and it's very cool to see because I mean, in a lot of ways it's similar. I mean, it's very similar to comedy, but it's a different animal because you can write a killer song and immediately blow up. I can't write a great joke and then blow up. It's not the same. But every time I go to a concert, I all I can think is, man, this is so cool. What I do is so gay. I wish I would have learned guitar.
Now, what's the weirdest moment you ever had when you were a host?
Oh man, I'd probably say I've had two people want to fight me. One was this last one that we did where most people don't. I don't know why they don't pay attention and they don't read anything. They don't know that we're gonna dig into their lives or maybe they might be the butt of some jokes or something like that. And this guy, now, admittedly, I think I was an asshole here. I don't think I was a good guy. I don't think I'm in the right. But this guy, I could tell something was up with his teeth. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, what do you think of your buddy's veneers over here?" And the other guy took the mic. He goes, "Man, these are brand new teeth. I was toothless for 2 years. These are all new." And for some reason, I just thought, man, tell us more about your battle with toothlessness, man. Big mashed potato enthusiast over here. His friends didn't find that funny at all. But like, man, how are you gonna get mad when they're not even your teeth? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough industry you're in. I'll tell you that much. Now, how do you keep the energy up?
To be fair, I'm not a very high energy guy. I try to make sure the words work for themselves, and it's one of those things. Is everyone has a different delivery style, and I think if I really tried to like go and hype myself up and get all into it, it might take away from what I'm saying. It might make it do better. I don't know. But I just get up there and just deliver it just very calmly and just straight down the barrel, and it's done. It's worked well for me so far. So if it ain't broke.
Yeah, don't fix it. That's right. Now, I mean, how do you see the comedy changing with social media?
So it's become a lot of clip chasing. You'll see with the rise of like Matt Rife and stuff, everyone's all about crowd work. And so you'll see people out there, and like the things that people online don't see is you'll see comic get up there and they'll be like, "Hey man, what do you do for work?" And it's like, "Oh, I work in IT." And it's like, "Okay, that's not interesting. Next guy, what do you do there?" It's a constant like trying to get clips. And I mean, it's a little lame, but it's fine. Like, that's not as bad as what people have thought or starting to think comedy is, because everyone watches those crowd work clips and all that, and they think that's all a comedy show is. So now they want to come in and just be interactive, and they just end up interrupting things because they don't know what an actual show looks like.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's better to grow online or in a comedy club?
Man, I'd like to say that it'd be a lot cooler if you just let the work speaks for itself, that's just not how it is today. Today you have to be doing something else, and that's one thing that's I'm not doing yet. Is I'm getting out and I'm doing different things, but I'm not filming a podcast at home. I haven't started filming my sketches I've had written out for a year, and it's just stuff I need to do. And just in an age of oversaturation, because comedy's in a big boom right now, where now it's kind of cool. Everyone, like, you have, I mean, some of the most famous people are comedians now, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. Like I said, it's supposed to be done in a basement and stuff like that. Like, so now with it growing so big, I forgot what I was saying, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I started going off on something.
No, it's
What was
so
it?
true. It's so true what you were saying about just like the online versus like in a comedy club. Everyone's in for the clickbait. They're all in it for just the for just finding that click.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic now. But you got to be doing something. You got to be doing something else to set yourself apart, because like the industry, if you notice, like everyone loves podcasts. So everyone loves podcasts. Shane Gillis blew up because of his podcast, because of his sketches, stuff like that. So I mean, and then every famous comic has a podcast. So you got to be doing something. No one's gonna find out about you by going to a club, really. I mean, they're gonna find out about you from online. If you're at a club, you're gonna reach what 200, 300 people, in a rotating pattern and all that. No, and nowadays it's not. You don't have famous comics just picking you up and being like, "Hey, come on the road with me." That's not that is the old days, and it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, do you have like a niche? Or what's your comedy style like when you're on stage? I know what it's like for the listeners.
Man, I don't know how I'd really describe myself. I'm just taking, messed up stuff and trying to turn it funny, and then I'll be goofy in the middle of it. I'm real, I've tried my best to not be as monotone as what I am right now. I try to put some inflection in my voice, do something so I'm not putting people to sleep, but I'm a, I'm a, I'm a jokes guy. You see a lot of storytellers, and that's amazing. I'm not good at it. I'm not a good storyteller. I will bore you. So I write jokes.
No, I realized that about you. You're really good at jokes, by the way. Like the best comedian I've seen with jokes, like you like not storytelling, but jokes. Like you are really good at saying the jokes.
Huh, dude? I don't know if I'd say that, but it's something I've worked on. Another guy that's like, you just had Michael Morgan on. He's a he's doing very good writing. He's a good guy. I like that fellow. He's got not starting that long ago. He's doing really good.
Yeah, his niche is no filter.
Yeah,
Now, what's
yeah.
one of the? Yeah, no, go for it.
Oh yeah. He's just a good guy that's willing to learn, willing to put in the work, and with his background in music and stuff like that. He's way ahead of his time already because he knows how the industry works.
Yeah, he's chasing after his dreams because his dreams won't chase him.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned about being a comedian?
It's gonna suck for a long time. But I think honestly, the biggest lesson I've learned from it is it's very cliche, but closed mouth doesn't get fed. That's a lesson I've had to learn hard. Is if you want something, go get it, go ask for it, because no one's just going to give it to you.
That's really good insight. Now, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start stand up?
Start, just go, and if you actually want to do it, just don't stop going. Like you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure out what you like, what you can do. The biggest thing about it is just to go, just go do it. And that's what
Yeah.
most people are afraid of, is getting on stage.
Yeah, stand up is a grind. What keeps you pushing forward?
What honestly, it's probably that first sold out show I did. It was 2 back-to-back shows, and it honestly puts in perspective of, like, it gives you a false narrative. You're like, man, it's always going to be like this. It's not. But you remember how good it was. And then when you get to do other cool things, dude, I'm so blessed that I get to go and see just crazy. I see crazy things all the time, and it's so cool. And I'm very confident in what I do. So I've kind of switched mentality from I want to make it to I'm going to make it. Now, what is making it, we'll figure it out. But that's just, like, I've put my college degrees on the back burner and all that, because this is what I want to do.
No, I like that. How you chasing after your dreams. Now, what's one piece of advice you wish you gave to your earlier self in your career when you were younger?
I would say probably don't worry as much about making new material as much as I did, as to work on honing what you've got. Because I started out, and man, it's cool being just a joke machine, just like, because, a lot of it's going to get thrown away. So you're going to have to write a lot. But still, man, I'd write all this new stuff and be so excited and immediately go do it on shows or go do it on mics, whatever. And I would neglect all the stuff that I already had in helping and nourish it and help it grow. I'm too worried about the flashy new joke than I am just this old one that I could be working on to make it better.
Now, what's your definition for success in comedy?
I tell you where I want to be. My definition of success would be, this is what I'm doing full time. I make a living doing it, and I live fine. I'm not worried about, debt collectors coming down my throat or anything like that. But what my goal in it would be, I would like to be able to do theaters. Like, I want to do theaters, and I like to be able to turn down someone asked me to come on to a stadium or something like that, an arena.
That's so cool. I'm looking forward to the future for you. And I mean, your energy you bring on stage is electric. I mean, do you think it's harder for today for comedians because of cancel culture?
No, I think you just have to be better. Like, that's the problem with all these edgelords, meme guys that want to get into stand up, and they just want to get up there and they just want to do something crazy. And it's like, oh, it's comedy. You can't get mad at me. No, it's you have to be good at what you do. Like, you can talk about these topics and all that, make it palatable, make it funny. It's like the thing is with comedy is, to be good, you have to be able to get away with it. Like, you have to be able to go and say something that might be controversial or like hard to swallow, whatever, and put it in words good enough that people laugh at it and be like, man, I didn't want to laugh at that, but it was funny. Like, that's something like you may experience when you see a good comic. It's like, man, that I really didn't want to laugh at that topic, but man, he made it funny. And like cancel culture, now, well, I think it's really died down from what it was. Because like it used to be rampant, but now I think it all levels out eventually, and I think we've reached that.
I think it's just trying to make people laugh. That's what it's all about. I mean, now, how do you see stand-up evolving in the next, 10 years?
Man, I think we're gonna go through a fairly sharp decline in the next 5 years, probably, because everything is so oversaturated in how mainstream is, and everything goes through cycles. And I think it'll just be about holding on and waiting for that next upswing. Because the 80s were huge. I mean, you had Pryor and all that, and everybody loved that. And then the 90s, it fell off. And then 2000s, it kind of came back. And then now you've got the whole thing happening down in Austin, and just how big things like Kill Tony and all these different podcasts are, and everyone loves them. But when everything gets so popular, then it's the kids that are 12 through 16, they're like, now that everyone loves them, it's like, oh, that's the old people thing. It's not gonna be popular whenever they get to be in their 20s and 30s.
Now, what do you think makes a great comedian stand out?
I'd say having a unique opinion, or just being able to it's just about being yourself. Because when you can tell when someone's not being genuine. It's when they put that mask on, you can see it.
Yeah, do you think making people laugh can change the world?
Change the I don't know, that's a little deep topic. It can definitely change someone's perception of you, because man, dude, my ex-girlfriend, hot. And dude, I made her laugh the whole time we were working together on that artist spotlight, and that's how I landed her. So like laughter is being funny is very powerful. I know at this in the end of this podcast, anybody listening, watch, be like, man, this guy's probably not, but I swear, guys, I am a little bit at least.
Now, how do you want to be remembered by?
Man, honestly, it'd be all right if I died right now, because then everyone would be like, oh my God, he had so much potential. But because like in 10 years, if I'm burned out or underneath a bridge, they'd be like, oh man, that kid, he thought he really was going to be something. But man, I'm more trying I'm kind of focused on right now. I mean, it might sound kind of cliche, but it is it's a very tough game out there, and it's hard to not treat it like a scarcity mindset, but that's something you can't do. Of there's opportunities out there, and you have to go get them now, kind of thing. It's I have an idea of where I want to be, but I don't have any expectations of. I don't think anybody's gonna remember me. Maybe. I think maybe one day people will know me, but I'm not worried about being remembered.
Now, what's one thing people misunderstand about being a comedian?
Man, it's not what it's cut out to be. It's people, it's very cool. I don't want to rag on it. It's very cool to get to do what I do and get to see the thing, because you see the wildest people. You see crazy people, and you see and get to do crazy things. But man, it's just the idea of it is weird. Just you're a maniac. You're standing up there looking at people, just talking at them, and that's it's if you're looking at it from an outside perspective, you're just watching some dude just talk at people, and it's crazy.
It looks
And
like
there's no
fun.
money in it. Oh, it's so much fun. Dude, the amount of power you feel whenever you're making when you have control over a whole room. All comedians are narcissists, by the way. We're not good people. Like the only reason we're up there is because we're self-centered. That's it. But it's yeah, there's also no money in it until there is. I hope that didn't mess it up. Low power mode. There's no money in it until there finally is money in it. And when that's gonna be, hell if I know.
No, it does look like a lot of fun, but it looks like there's also a lot happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, people don't understand how much work actually goes into it. Because like, I'll show people, um, some of my journals and stuff. Because like I've got 5 journals sitting over there that are completely filled from sitting down there and handwriting everything. Just like, I mean, right. I had a set that I was doing that, man, I wrote that sucker out 6 different times, basically writing out the exact same word for word, except, man, I would get in there and I would switch 2 words around. I would change the last joke and substitute it for a different joke, just until I got it to exactly where I wanted it. Because, man, it's the smallest details, and it's kind of dumb, honestly, but using a simile and just changing that one word and just using a different word that has the exact same meaning and just can make such a big difference for some reason.
No, it's great insight. Now, what's one of the funniest things that ever happened to you off stage?
Strange. Oh man, I was doing a show the other day, and we went to a bar afterwards, and there was a couple that was there at the show, and they came, and the husband was talking to me, I'm sorry, the husband was talking to my friend, the wife was talking to me, and she just spouts off, and she was like, "Yeah, I just have a really high iron level." I'm like, "Okay." She was like, "Yeah, it's just better for me to be pregnant." And just sits there and tells me about her breeding kink and all this as her husband just standing right over there. That was and then the next week, man, we're doing a show off in North Texas, and just we're doing this show in an art gallery. It was already weird, but then you walk outside, and man, we end up talking to this former stripper turned school teacher for an hour. She's like, you just meet characters everywhere you go.
No, yeah, real life moments can be the best comedy, really.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, if you have a chance to get comedian friends, you don't even have to try it. Just go hang out with them, and you're gonna like go where they go and just hang out with them, and you're going to hear some of the funniest people you know, and you're gonna see some very wild things.
Yeah, speaking about that, I mean, where are some of the weirdest and coolest places you performed at for comedy?
The worst place I've ever performed, I'd say the worst place I've ever performed is a steakhouse in Comanche, Oklahoma. I don't know that they knew we were coming there or not, but man, everyone was sat at the very back of the room and having to get up there and just talk at people as they sit back there. And then a girl I knew's stepdad tried to fight me afterwards for talking shit about Oklahoma, of all things. Man, the one of the weird ones that was actually very fun was I was in Plainview, Texas, and we go to this little place called RUDC Studios, which isn't around anymore, and the air conditioning goes out in the building, so we moved everybody outside, and we were sitting outside just doing this show, and they were a great crowd, and it was very cool. But usually outdoor shows they're not fun because there's no ceiling to keep everything, because it's all comedy is energy, really. So as these laughs resonate with each other, they just keep on crossing over, and you want to keep that as tightly packed together as you can. When you're outside or you have a really high ceiling or something like that, man, it just dissipates. That's why you lose so much energy so quickly. And then the mother, doing stand up in the mothership in the small room, it's so cool just because everyone's there for stand up. Like that, those are comedy fans. They're going to pay to just go see no names. Like they have to buy a ticket in there anyways. Just see no names and people who work the door and stuff like that, and it's fun. It's such a tightly packed room. It's very well built, and you know that you have the talent agent up there, Adam Egett. You know he's up there watching, so it puts a little pressure on you, but it's still fun.
Now, if you could perform at any comedy club in the world, where would it be?
Man, I don't know. I'd like to go. I'd like to go to New York sometime. I think it'd be fun. I mean, obviously you have the historic places, like the Comedy Store in LA. I've always heard good things about Denver, like Comedy Works out there and stuff like that. And then my friends that hit Florida and stuff like that, they always have good things to say about Florida. Never heard anything good about like New Orleans or anything like that. It seems like comedy best works in places that suck and don't have anything else going on. That's why I'm surprised Austin's really taken off, because like music is really big down there too. So if you were living in a place where things aren't enjoyable, comedy is the thing you do to go forget about it. You just hear someone sit there and talk bad about everything around you, and you're like, yeah, I relate to that.
It's really good insight. Now, if you weren't doing comedy, what would you be doing?
I'd probably be working in marketing for a fishing tackle boat company, something in the fishing industry, honestly.
Yeah, can you dive into your college professional fishing passion you had?
Oh man, I grew up always fishing, but then I went to the I went to my mother's alma mater, and whenever I close to when I was graduating, that's when they collegiate fishing really started to take off. When I was graduating high school, and I'd see these things of Tarleton State, top 10 in the nation, all these different things. And I had aspirations to go play college baseball and all that, in which I knew I wasn't going to be anything in baseball. Like I was going to go to a D3 junior college, go pitch there, maybe do it for a couple seasons just to have fun, because I really love baseball. But what did I love more than baseball was fishing. And so, man, I went out there, and collegiate fishing is it's a very big deal. And professional fishing is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like it seems kind of niche when you're on the outside looking in, but there's so much money in that industry. And college fishing, just like anything else, you're chasing a dream. And man, I did it, and I did locally. I can do great. Great locally. I can do well. I can win. I can make top threes, top tens. But once you get there on the college circuit, when you're traveling across the nation, going to different states and all that, these kids nowadays are so good, and it's hard to keep up. And I couldn't keep up, and I knew that. I wouldn't. If anything, I'm a realist, and so I would still be in the industry. I would still go and work somewhere, because it's a passion of mine. But then I randomly found stand up my senior year, and honestly, I'm glad that I did.
I'm guessing you still do that for a hobby, though, fishing. I mean, what were you usually fishing for when you're doing collegiate fishing?
No, bass. Down here, it's a lot of largemouth, and then as you get further north, you run to spotted bass and smallmouth. Yeah, that's the three you can bring in for tournaments. It's just a bass species.
Do you have any tips or tricks for someone that's fishing?
Dude, it's all different on the environment of, because like if something I tell you right now, man, it's not going to work in June, you know, and vice versa. That one's more for, you go on YouTube and you look it up and just listen to the first guy you come across that sounds cool. Because it's one of those things, like, as long as you're doing it, the more time you spend on the water, the more you're gonna get in tune with everything, and it's one of those things you have to learn yourself too. You can watch all the videos, read all the magazines, read every article you can, but until you actually go do it, then you'll finally understand it.
That's great. Now, what's next for you in your comedy career?
Man, I'm not sure. I've really been tossing around the idea of moving down to Austin, but I don't know if it's the right move. I'm gonna work on myself more, work on these different projects that I've been putting on the back burner, and I think it'll just be trying to build my social media and putting together like an electronic press kit and all that, and using that as an end to go and, be opening up for bigger acts that come around and just find my way into working more. I mean, I don't have anything booked this week. This will only be my third weekend off this year. So it's been cool, and it's been a blessing to stay steady working, but still, like, I mean, of course, it's never going to be enough for me. Like, I'm very competitive. I want to be the best at what I do.
Yeah, you got to show up and keep chasing your dreams and conquering those goals. Now, where can people find you and support your work? Everything will be down in the description, but if you want to tell the listeners.
Yeah, it's just a Trenton Tebow comedy. Same, spelt the same as old Tim Tebow, because, such a good Christian man, I'd want to put my comedy in case they ever accidentally stumbled upon me. I'm sure those people would love me as well.
Yeah, I hope they would switch up your bank account as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I would like that. That'd be very cool.
Now, any final words of wisdom for the listeners?
Man, if you think a lady is crazy, just trust your gut on that, and always go to their house first. Ever let them know where you live, and yeah, because that's how you end up with stalkers, and that's not cool, guys.
Well, this was an awesome conversation. Thank you for bringing all the laughs and sharing your journey with us.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I can't wait to see what's next for you.
I appreciate it, man. I'm sure, and this podcast is going to keep growing. You seem like you're doing it very consistently.
I appreciate that. And everybody, make sure to go follow him and check out his work.
Same to you, man.
And go watch that Kill Tony skit on his Instagram. It is hilarious. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Every day is Friday. And until next time, everybody, thank you.